Alright guys, well the first thing I'm doing is getting myself a real nice sharp blade here. A sharper knife, safer than a dull one. But I got myself a big prime Indiana coyote. This thing was a beast. And I'm making a hat for a kid, so I took my head measurement, took this pan, it's like, seems about right. Then took me a tape, right at 23 inches. I went around my pan, exactly 23 inches. So typically you would take your hat size or your head size and go about an inch bigger. So if your head size is 23, you'd want to go with 24. The reason being is because you're going to put your stitches in there and the top of that hat's going to kind of curl down. It's going to tighten up more. So you want to give yourself about an inch to work with probably. And I'm making this hat for a kid, so I'm just going to leave it at 23. I imagine his head's about an inch smaller than mine if I had to guess. So we're just going to trace the skillet right onto this coyote. But first, we got to cut them right down the middle. So we're going to cut from the center of the lips all the way down to the inspection window right in here. Straight line, doesn't have to be laser straight, but get it as straight as you can and try not to cut much fur. So we'll start up here at the lips. So just like that, our hide is all the way open. There's a few holes in here, so we're gonna have to sew some things, but there's nothing we can't handle. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is open this neck up as big as you can get it. Spread that open real good. Take your pan. The top of this one's kind of curved, like bent a little, so I'm going to use the bottom part of it. I'll try to avoid that hole. Okay. So right here, we're all good. Make sure you guys can see that. Yeah. Now, what we're gonna do, real simple, is get yourself a Sharpie or any marker. Hold pressure down on that. Don't let it move as you do this. And trace that pan or whatever you're using.
Trace your reference.
Alright, just like that, we got our circle made. You want to go, it's important you go right behind the head. So now that we got that traced out, the next part is your sides. And for this, you're going to need a level. Okay guys, I didn't video this part just because it's simple and took a second. All I did here was make myself a big strip that is 24¼ inches. As long as it's as long as your head circumference, you'll be fine. You might go a little longer just to be safe. But I made this 4½ inches. And how I did that is I just measured up here 4½, marked it with a Sharpie, took this big level, and then just eyeballed straight. And then traced my mark, went from the bottom of this mark, marked 4½ down here, and then connected the dots, drew another line, and there you have it. You got yourself your side piece for your hat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my circle out, I'm going to cut my strip out, I'm going to cut the face off, and I'm going to cut the tail off, because these are all going on the hat. I should mention that whenever you cut this out, you want to make sure you're cutting really, really light, and this is where the sharp knife really comes into play again. Cut real light to where you're just cutting the leather. You're almost just scoring it, but you still want to go through, but try not to cut the hair. because the hair is going to help lots of things, hide stitches and just make it look more full, like a better hat, you know? So trying to cut all the way through while going all the way through, if that makes sense. All right, so here's your coyote hat, just not put together. You got your side strip, the top of the hat, face for the front of the hat, and your tail. So now we got one more thing to do actually before we sew. We're gonna check the pieces, see if they have holes in them. That one's all good. This one is not good. We got this hole there, that little hole, and then this little cut I accidentally put in there. So we have that to fix. The face we won't worry about, and the tail we won't worry about either. But the top of it, however, we're gonna reach in here, somewhere in here, right here, get ourselves a bottle of super glue. Now some of these you can get away with like this little thing. All we're gonna do is I'll set you up and show you. All we're gonna do is crack open the super glue, push that together. You see where the seam is? We're gonna push it together, put a little strip, keep holding it together. Take you a spreading utensil, whatever you got, kind of smear that around on it. I just noticed another little cut while I was sitting here. Right there we got one. Just a hair bit of glue on there. While we wait on that to dry, we'll thread up a needle. We're just gonna get ourselves a piece about a foot long. This is just a little 2-inch L-shaped needle I bought. You can use any needle. I wouldn't use any thread, however. You want some sort of cape thread or sinew. You don't want to use regular sewing thread. You're gonna match your 2 ends up. See, I doubled that thread up. And up here, just gonna take, do a little overhand knot. And cut a little bit of that tag end off. Okay, we are ready to sew our hat here. Our super glue's dry. There's the other little bit. And all you're gonna do is take you some sandpaper and smooth it down. Let's see, I can't even see my other, I don't even know where it went. There it is. First, we're gonna take our needle, this needle, and we'll try to tuck this hair down inside that hole actually. Okay. Take this, stick it in on this side, trying to keep as much hair out of that stitch as you can. Go ahead and pull that needle all the way through. And then, on the same side over here, I'm gonna go underneath, right up here, pull it all the way through. And then I'm gonna go right here, next to where I went in the first time. I'm gonna go underneath, leaving that hair underneath there, pull it on through. Same thing, go underneath, next to where we went through last time, and pull it through. A little bit left, we're gonna go under there, pull her through, and then go up through here, and don't pull it all the way through. You're going to take these strings connected to the needle, cut them off, and then hold on to one end pull the other end through. Then I'm just gonna pull them together real tight, and then tie yourself 2 or 3 little overhand knots. All right, so now we got our holes sewed up, and I marked the front of the hat and the back of the hat. And what we're gonna do is take our strip here, and we're almost color blending. With this strip, you wanna look at both sides of it and decide your top and bottom. You want your top to match the sides of the hat the best. So I think the top of this hat's lighter, and obviously the top of this is real light. So what I would do, I'll take the top corner piece of our strip and line that up with our center mark, keeping all the hair inside of there, so you don't want it in seam. So now we're gonna take our needle and make our first stitch. All right, now we're gonna pull all this through. You wanna make sure you got plenty of thread to try and go around this whole hat. So there's our first pass. Now, get used to that motion, because you're gonna do it about 100 times. There you go, hold that. Make your next stitch. I wouldn't go more than about 1/4 of an inch between each stitch if you want it to be real strong. Basically, all you're gonna do is the same thing all the way around the hat, and your ends are gonna meet. And I'm gonna go ahead and shut the camera off and sew up until we get to this point, and then I'll show you how we sew the 2 pieces together. All right, so we made it to this point of our hat. So we've gone all the way around now, and the hard part's done. So what you're gonna do now is you need to take this end and sew it to this end to make the ends meet. But you'll see, you know, the end's too long. So what you're gonna do is real simple. It's just take this little guy. Let's see. Wrap it like this until it's straight. So right about there looks pretty even. Somewhere in there, yeah. So I'm just gonna take my Sharpie and mark me a little line. Actually, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of room to work with. There we go. Now we're gonna go off of this, just trim about right here. So I'm gonna cut that off real quick, and I'll show you guys what we have left to work with. All right, got it trimmed up now. All we're gonna do is push these ends together like so. Get these corners together. Take our needle. Just take it right through there. Go ahead. Pull that through. We're gonna keep holding as good as we can. We need to get another one in there just to ensure it doesn't move. And now you're just gonna do the same exact thing you did all the way around the hat, just on the front of it. All right, we're all stitched up here. Let's flip her. Well, actually, one thing you can see, here's the end of one side of the side piece, and then here's the end of the other side of the side piece. All I'm gonna do here is just cut the corner off. not make it so aggressive. See, and just that'll make it look a lot better. And here, see if we can find her front real fast. Yeah, that's what you're left with, just this big ball of fur. All right, so we strung herself up another needle. The face, how you do this is you want to find the front of the hat, feel that seam with your fingers, then take the nose. I like to go maybe half an inch or so past your side piece of the hat. Then we'll take our needle. We'll go right through that. And our needle's poking out. And that's center as could be. Go ahead, pull this through. All right, then basically just gonna go back through and try to land it in about the same spot. There we go. Pull it back up. Pull tight. Then just for good measures, we'll do it one more time. All right, so we went through there about 3 times now. I'm gonna kind of try and go underneath the face and then back up through it, if that makes sense. There we go. Pull that on through, and then we'll just tie it off like we have everything else. Now, you're gonna do the same exact thing 2 more times on each corner of the back of the head. Oops. So I'm gonna fold this down while keeping it centered. And I'll put one here, I'll put one here. We'll do the same exact thing. All right. We got the face all on here now. Everything's good to go. We have one last final thing to do, and that's to add the tail. So I just got it trimmed up real nice, and then remember when I marked my little center line there, I'm just gonna try and go from the center on up. I know it's right in here. Look at it. Okay, that looks really good. We're gonna make a little seam. Take our needle here. All right, that was the last stitch. That's what that looks like from the back. And there she is in all her beauty. I'll kind of just sit it on my head. You guys can see it. I like how she looks. Turned out beautiful. I'm gonna do one more thing to it though. Okay, it's all inside out now. See how some of these stitches have these little fuzzy things in it, these little hairs? What you can do, get yourself a lighter, just go through, make sure you guys can see that. I'll hit these stitches with it. Gone. What hairs? Exactly. Kind of crimp that down. Never see it. Let's do the whole seam. All right, there you have it. Finished coyote hat. I hope this video will help some of you. It's real simple to do, it's fun to do. And yeah, get out there, get crafty, make you one. That's all there is to it, guys. Real simple, fun to make, good little money makers. One other thing I do is I'd go over with the brush and get any little loose hairs you can get off of it. But yeah, other than that, that's all there is to it.